Welcome Home Radio Podcast. Are you looking to buy or sell your home? Our team is here with answers to guide you through the buying and selling process. We encourage you to ask questions. Please comment on this show or visit us at welcomehomeradio.net for more information. Bringing real estate, lending, and education together in one place, and to help you make the right home decision for you and your family.
And welcome to Welcome Home Radio, where real estate, lending, and learning come together. It is July 29th. We hope you've had a wonderful month. A wonderful World Cup's been going on across America and Mexico, I must add. But we're continuing our efforts here in education with Your Turn to Ask, a series that we allow you to ask the questions. We try to answer them. We have a very lengthy one today because I don't know any other way to be able to work this one in, but as a potential home buyer, what is the best loan program in today's market? That is a loaded question because right off the bat, it all depends on the buyer's profile. It all depends on their background, what they do, because right off the bat, the best program, at least what I work in my industry, is veterans. And veterans benefits is a wonderful one, especially if you're a disabled veteran, because we don't pay for a funding fee and you're 100% financed anywhere. So what a wonderful time. No monthly mortgage insurance payment going on. Typically, I'm going to say in areas of the country, veterans rates are about a half a point to 3/4 of a point better than conventional, or at least I've been able to get you there. But you have some more purchasing power with that, as well as, again, no geographical limitation and 100% finance. It's a wonderful solution to allow a service person in the service of our country to get into the American dream, which is owning a home. What do y'all think about the VA program? Would you agree, Tom?
I would say that in my experience, that's the number one program to use. Of course, you have to be eligible to use it.
And you have to have a DD 214 to be eligible to use it. And we understand not everybody. Now, let's go the inverse of that, Tom. Out there in the marketplace, how many realtors want to have a VA purchase contract on the home they're trying to sell? Wow. Well, Jeff, did you hear that sigh?
I did.
Did you hear that sigh?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Sorry,
I mean, the air sucked out of the room.
You know, in my classes, when I was instructing as far as that goes, that's one of the first things I tried to overcome with any real estate professional that's been around. VA is there's no more complexity with VA than there is with any other program, pretty much for the most part. I mean, there's a couple of different exceptions, but they only deal with the exception to make sure that the veteran is buying a safe house, a house that's not infested with termites. It's looking out for the additional rules protect the veteran, which I would hope the seller and the realtor would want to do. Otherwise, there's not that much more complexity with the deal. So my big emphasis there is to try to educate the real estate populace that the days of, and I got in the business in San Antonio. So if you don't think 75 years ago when I started in the business back then.
Just 75?
175.
Okay, there we go. That's more like it.
When I was first selling houses down there, that I wasn't dealing with a lot of veterans, and the rules were much more difficult. I mean, there was, if you got a VA contract, you were guaranteed at least a 6 weeks close or an 8-week close. You had to wait a while to get all the paperwork. It wasn't done electronically. The appraiser had a little bit longer than the 10 days to get that appraisal to you, so on and so forth. And the appraiser back then only had to be 60 years old versus 80 years old, which is the requirement now. But these are things that the real estate community needs to be aware of. Well, I did, a VA deal back in '09 and I would never do one again. Please don't take that mindset. That it's an incorrect thought to think that this is something that is going to harm your seller because they chose a veteran to buy their house and use their VA eligibility to buy the house.
I agree. I mean, I don't know where it came from, except that, hey, you have to negotiate, and it is into the favor of the veteran that the home needs to be ready. And I would think any listing agent would want that, but they want to take.
And by ready, we're again just talking about health and safety here. We're not talking about extreme, everything has to be scraped down as far as the walls are concerned, and they have to run some type of magical person through the house to make sure it's okay.
Yeah. It again, today's the best loan program in my opinion, and again, my opinion is tainted, but the VA benefit, if you have it, I would use it. I think on the listing side, what is the priority? They put cash, conventional, FHA, and sometimes they even specifically say no VA, but that's the choices that they look at. And of course, cash is king. It gets the deal done quickly. Title's able to be done fairly quickly, I would say, and that's really the only holdup. Especially appraisal time frame might be a challenge as well. But VA loan from the buying way is the best solution. But for first-time home buyers, let's jump over to FHA. Now, FHA does not stand for first-time home buyers, but it is associated with it. So many people think that. But the benefit right there is 3.5% down payment. Rates are good comparatively to conventional. And it's a little bit more flexible. It gives a higher debt-to-income ratio. So what you qualify for, it's much easier to get qualified on FHA, but you do have mortgage insurance premium. Now, Tom, there is a fallacy out there that says, well, you have to pay your insurance premium through the life of the loan. Is that really true with FHA?
Well, FHA, when we're talking about the mortgage insurance, there's two types of mortgage insurance on an FHA deal. There's an upfront policy that's usually equivalent to about 1.75% of the loan amount that you're borrowing. I guess loan amount would mean you're borrowing it. But anyway, that 1.75% is taken, and the choice is there is you can pay them out of pocket, the seller can pay it for you. Typically, in most FHA transactions, the mortgage insurance that is there and mortgage insurance, again, for us to make sure we're clear with our listeners, insures the lender. That's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. So it's a cost to the buyer to buy a property because they're using FHA loans. So that mortgage insurance, in most cases in an FHA deal, is added to the amount that is borrowed. So your loan amount, if that 1.75%, if you borrowed $100,000, that's $1,750. That would then be added to the loan amount, and you pay that down over the life of the loan as you're paying down your mortgage payments.
Can it ever come off like a conventional at 20% equity?
It can come off if you refinance and get a different type of loan. It can come off if you put down 10% on an FHA deal, or if you get a 15-year note, it will automatically come off. So there are some additional conditions that you can make it come off. Otherwise, your FHA mortgage insurance that you are going to be required to pay will need to be paid, and that's the second type of mortgage insurance, for the life of the loan.
Okay, great. Now, again, this is a great first-time home buying situation. And Jeff, how long do first-time home buyers stay in their home?
Maybe 4 to 6 years.
So again, going into this, if you understand you're getting into your first home, you're starting to build and understand what your likes and dislikes are, getting some equity in the home itself. You're understanding this because this is really the first time home buyers should be looking at springboarding into their next home or possibly their forever home, but I never believe that. I don't think you really understand what you want in a home until the third home at the best. But you have experiences and you experience what it's going to cost, electrical, maintenance, all of that. So if you're only planning to be in a home, even though you're setting up a 30-year mortgage, but we're only going to be there for 4, maybe 7 years at the most, does a loan program really bother you?
I would say as long as it's affordable and you make the payment, no, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't. And I mean, you asked some very valid questions. Can it be workable? And what is my plan? Because I don't know, in 4 years at 4.5% equity growth, that home's going to grow X percentages. I'm gaining money on my payment. So I'm gaining equity that I can put down into my next home. So I'm at a 20%, 25, 30% equity position on the next home I buy. So again, first time home buyers, FHA is a great program. Geographically, no limitations. But sometimes in certain areas where I listing agents, it is not the preferred loan outside of cash and conventional that a realtor looks for to sign a contract.
And I'll also say this, if I'm a buyer out in the country or further out from the city limits than normal, FHA has often been known to not favor that type of housing, but about
Uh-oh.
Whoa, it said oops, and now we're back.
There we go.
I knew it didn't like me, but anyway, the houses that are in the country, there's often this thought process, oh, that won't go FHA. FHA has had a push in the last 6-7 years to help finance homes that are further out than they have in the past. And the initiative is that they'll take, the condition of the house might be a little bit less favorable, but FHA is saying,
come on, quit beating around the bush. Tell them what this is. Less favorable. Give them some details to this.
Less
Tom.
favorable would mean in its condition, in its current condition, what kind of condition it's in. So less favorable conditions. These realtors have said, no, I won't go FHA. And surprisingly, it ends up it will, because it's a livable home.
Well, keep in mind, I think one of the things I think we should mention is where our first time homes we purchased might have been 150 to 200,000, where the first time home buyers right now are buying 550 to 650 as their first time home buyers often. So that puts them in a different level right away as far as how much they're going to move, or maybe changes their scope of how long they may or may not be there.
Very true. Very, very true. Again, a loan mortgage, what is the best loan to use? It is a tool. Now, we're not going to beat a nail with a screwdriver. We're going to use a hammer. You need to figure out which one you're going to use that is best for your situation and reality. Are you going to stay in this home forever or are you not? There's a lot to go along with this, but you have to understand. I'm sorry, my reminder just came on.
Thank goodness you're remembering something.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Tom. Hey, the next loan program that works for everybody and again, let's go back over VA credit doesn't have to quite be there, 600 plus. FHA, hey, you can actually do an FHA loan at 500 credit score. You just have to come with that 20% down part. That's a little unique. Conventional works really well from 620 on up. And guess what? You don't have to bring 20% down for conventional. it is a fallacy or it's a inappropriate educational tool. Somebody telling you you have to bring 20% down.
What's the lowest you can bring?
3.
Very nice. And
Eligible buyers.
And you have to be an eligible buyer. We'll qualify that, make sure we understand that the 3% down rule does mean that you're going to have some additional qualifying requirements. But if you've got good credit, it's a great way to go.
It is.
Down.
Mhm.
It is. And it's a way to get into the market with that, but you have to be eligible for that 3%. Normally 5% for anyone that is looking at the conventional is the minimum, but there is eligible buyers 3%. You're going to have PMI, private mortgage insurance. Until you have an equity position of 20% or more, private mortgage insurance is going to be put on your monthly mortgage. It can be paid up front. It can be paid semi-annual, but it will be put there, a part of the mortgage itself. Strong pricing for good credit. Boy, good rates here with conventional. And again, looking at 15 years, looking at 5 years, rates can always, we can do anything. I actually had a 19-year loan rate request from a gentleman recently. So he had a plan, and he was going to work his plan and a 19-year conventional program.
That's, you know, when he mentions that number, he's got a plan.
Well, he's got a plan, and I think he understood it. The risk factors that standards are 15 and 30. 19 is going to be there's a risk factor. It's a unique mortgage and a rate given for it. It's not always going to be the best. Now let's talk about ARMs real quick on conventional. Right now, especially with 2-1 buy downs, 3-2-1 buy downs, seller credits becoming a part, ARMs are becoming a really good opportunity for people for rates. Would you agree, Tom?
I've always felt ARMs have been good opportunities. Yes.
Well, treat me like I'm a dumb buyer. Why? And why is Jeff blinking in and out?
Your adjustable rate mortgages, when we talk about ARMs and adjustable rate mortgages, one of the things that's consistent typically with an ARM is the rate is going to be that you're getting on the loan will be lower than the current standard 30-year market rate. And that's a savings right there. Now, everybody goes with an ARM, oh, it can go up to 99% and it's crazy and all these things that, you know, existed back during and prior to the mortgage industry collapse in 2008. There were a lot of instruments that were created that were very dangerous prior to 2008. So if you see somebody or hear from somebody that said, oh, I got an ARM back in 2000 and I hated it. Well, they got probably an ARM that had prepayment penalties in it. They may have gotten an ARM that had this high level of adjustment that it could make once it started adjusting. Those types of dangerous instruments have been deleted from the industry. And basically, people are not offered those because you have to show that the person getting an ARM can afford it. There's an affordability question that's asked on all mortgages nowadays. And that would not be the case with some of these high risk mortgages that existed prior to the 2008 collapse. So with that being said, looking at an ARM and looking at savings from that perspective, that would be something that I would like to probably do if I'm buying a house and getting a $400,000 or $300,000 loan. If I can make savings on a monthly basis for the first 5 years or 3 years or whatever it might be during the interim period that I'm maybe, most ARMs get fixed in for a period of time. And if I can enjoy those savings for that period of time, just like Jeff mentioned a few minutes ago, your average stay in the house, if it was a first-time buyer, that 4 to 6 year type of savings, I'd like to have that. That's additional monies I would not have spent on my payment, and yet I'm still gaining equity in my house and being able to walk away with things that I would normally walk away with by owning that house for that 4 or 5 years.
Good deal. And of course, finally, our final loan program that is opportunity for the market, a USDA. Now, right off the bat, I have to confirm for people, yes, this is the stake people. These are the people that certify your stakes as good to go. They are there to help out the suburban rural area development, and therefore they're able to put financing at 0% for the American citizen to 100% finance a home in certain geographical locations. Tom, is there another way you describe the USDA?
Well, and so we're not being just too mystical about this. Besides having great conditions, which is zero down on the mortgage, and relatively lower market rate because it is a federal program, those appeals are extremely attractive for the buyers in this area. The first thing I try to make sure everybody understands is it has to be in the the loan has to be for the house. The property has to be located in a USDA designated area. Now that's about 98% of all the land mass in the United States, Alaska, and Hawaii. So this program is prevalent in so many places, but people forget to ask, or realtors forget to talk about, hey, did you talk to your lender about a USDA program? It can quickly be determined if you're in a USDA area by simply going to the USDA website, if just you, the Joe Blow off the street, can go and do this and easily go to that website to confirm if the house address is in the area, is a USDA eligible area. So again, you get into a really top program to get, to buy a house with.
It is a top, and it is a good program, especially for people that are struggling to save for the down payment or needing that assistance, or just financing that 100% home. But now the one challenge that I've seen with this is that once you start looking and you check that website, you need to continue to check that website all the way through signing the contract.
Oh, yes, you do.
Because that geographical website can change without notice.
Wow.
And let me make not just signing the contract, closing on the contract. The property, the day you close, must still be in the USDA approved area. Going back and recalling probably one of my worst situations is I had a gentleman that was buying a house that was being built, and the builder said, well, we'll have this finished in 6 months in August to the first week of August. Well, June rolls around, and June 15th, I go back to check the map, and sure enough, this house that he's building and buying that he was going to put zero down on, get 100%, USDA loan, is now no longer in a USDA approved area.
Wow.
So we had to we had to go and find an alternative situation for him. And he had to borrow money for down payment and get an FHA deal, and
It's always a challenge, and that is the risk. It's just like down payment assistance programs that are available by local, county level, and even state level at certain times. You have to make sure the funds are there at close, not just available when getting pre-approved. So the one final gem we want to leave you with in looking at the right program is always ask your realtor to help negotiate a seller credit. That can be a 2-1 buy down, that can be permanent rate buy down, that can help with closing costs, or it's just a cash incentive, but always be asking. Right now, the market with sellers, they want to sell their home. Ask. You don't get what you don't ask for. So seller incentives are acceptable. So be aware of that. On a lot of these programs, every one of them has a seller paid incentive availability. Now there's percentage, there is limits to that, but ask for that incentive for that loan. Any other final comments?
Well, that was very thorough. And it's all about, you talked about realtors. Your realtors or your lender know who you're dealing with and who you're talking to, so you can trust with the advice that they're giving you.
I agree. Tom, any final words?
No, just I think we did a good job of covering those 4 basic programs and getting get with a good lender. And that this isn't, something that you don't realize this until you found that there's a big difference in lenders as well as that goes. The availability of programs, their flexibility, their ability to guide and make exceptions. Those are all things that you don't ask about that you should be if you're a buyer of your lender, to make sure that they're capable and doing the things that are geared towards helping you the best way possible.
I agree, 100%.
Yes, sir.
We're here to help you get to CTC clear to close. We wish you the best, and continue to find us at welcomehomeradio.net. I'm Blair Thomas.
And I'm Tom Holm.
I'm Jeff Duffy.
God bless.
Welcome Home Radio production provided by Lunatic Digital. Check the listing of this podcast for the links to our sponsors. And don't forget to like, share, and follow us on social media. Visit welcomehomeradio.net for more information. This was a Lunatic Digital production. Visit lunaticdigital.com for all your digital needs.